Hey there, you ever listen to a song and just think, wow, that's perfect. How did they do that? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and look at this secret blueprint of music. It's the hidden structure behind basically every song you love. Let's get into it. So let me start by asking you this. Why do some songs just get totally stuck in your head? You know, you hear it once and boom, it's on a loop in your brain for the rest of the day. What is that all about? Well, the answer has a name. It's called musical form. And honestly, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Think of it like a recipe for your favorite food, or maybe the blueprint for a cool building. It's the structure composers use to organize all the musical ideas so that they make sense to our brains, and crucially, so we can remember them. Without it, music would just be, well, a mess of random sounds. Okay, so to really get this, let's start with something super familiar. We're going to crack the code on a modern pop song, because pretty much every hit on the radio is built using the same fundamental pieces. First up, you've got the verse. This is the story part. Each verse has different lyrics, right? That's because it's pushing the story forward, setting the scene, and giving you all the juicy details. And then you hit the chorus. This is the main event, for sure. It's that part that gets stuck in your head, the bit you can't help but sing along to in the car. The melody, the words, they usually stay the same every time it comes around. And that's on purpose. It's designed to be the big, memorable takeaway of the whole song. Lots of songs also have this other cool part called a bridge. The bridge is like a little detour. It usually shows up late in the song, and it completely breaks the pattern. You get a new melody, maybe a new thought in the lyrics, and it's all designed to make that final chorus feel even bigger and more awesome when it comes back. Yeah, this road trip analogy is perfect. The bridge takes you somewhere unexpected for just a moment. It builds up a little tension, and then when you finally land back in that familiar chorus, it just feels so satisfying. It's a clever trick to keep our ears totally locked in. Now, this whole verse-chorus thing is just one kind of blueprint. But no matter what kind of music you're listening to, pop, classical, anything, it's all built from two basic ingredients, things that are the same and things that are different. It's all about finding the right balance. On one hand, you've got repetition. That's what makes a tune catchy. Our brains love familiar patterns. But too much of the same thing gets kind of boring. That's where contrast comes in. It throws in surprises and new ideas to keep us on our toes. Seriously, every great piece of music is just a brilliant game of mixing these two things together. So obviously, composers have come up with way more recipes than just the pop song structure. For hundreds of years, they've been playing with this whole same versus different idea. Let's look at a couple of other really common forms you've definitely heard before. Okay, first, there's something called ternary form. The easiest way to think of this one is as a round trip. It's got three parts, and we just label them A, B, A. You start with your main idea. That's A. Then you go somewhere totally new. That's B. And then you come right back home to A. Our brains are just wired to find this satisfying. It feels so complete, like we're turning home after a great adventure. You hear it everywhere, from classical concert halls to jazz clubs. So the journey is pretty clear, right? You start at home with part A, the main theme. Then you're off on an adventure in part B, with all its new and contrasting sounds. And finally, you get that awesome feeling of returning to the familiar territory of part A. Simple, right? But it's so effective. Then we've got rondo form. I like to call this one the boomerang. You have this main theme, let's call it A, and it just keeps coming back over and over again. But in between, the composer throws in different sections, a B section, then a C section, to mix things up. It's this really fun and playful structure where you always know your favorite part is right around the corner. All right, so you've learned a few of the secret codes. Now it's time for you to become a musical detective. I'm going to give you a simple toolkit you can use to start spotting these different forms out in the wild in your own playlists. It's actually way easier than it sounds, for real. Next time you're listening to any song, just try this. The first musical section you hear, in your head, just label it A. As soon as you hear a big change, a new melody, a new feeling, call that B. Then just keep your ears open. Does A ever come back? When? You can literally map out the song's entire blueprint as you listen. So what are you listening for? What counts as a new section? Well, new lyrics are the most obvious clue, but listen for other things too. Does a guitar suddenly take over from the piano? Does the music get way louder or super quiet all of a sudden? Does the beat speed up? Even something like a big drum fill or a total pause can be a signpost telling you, hey, we're moving to a new part of the map. Once you start listening this way, it completely changes everything. Music isn't just something happening in the background anymore. It becomes this active, engaging thing. It really is like solving a puzzle, but instead of cardboard pieces, you're using pieces made of sound. You start to hear the genius behind how it was all put together.
And that's pretty much the whole secret. You now have the key to the hidden blueprint that shapes almost all music. So, I guess the only question left is the next time you put your headphones on, what are you going to hear that you never ever noticed before?